5 mysterious missing person cases from the UK. Welcome to my channel everyone, I'm Jen and this is my fairly new channel, Jen Up. As always, please hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this video, as it makes a world of difference to new channels who are just starting out, and a big thank you to everyone who has supported me so far. I am really grateful and can't wait to go pro so I can improve the quality of my videos with better equipment and better software, but the fact that you've subscribed when the quality isn't quite up there with the best yet is really kind and I'm really grateful, so thank you very much. Number 1. Rebecca Corry. Rebecca Corry from Chester was just 24 when she disappeared back in March 2011. She was a crew member last seen in the crew lounge on the Disney Wonder cruise ship, which was sailing off the coast of Mexico. CCTV shows Rebecca having a phone conversation which appeared to be causing her some distress. Several hours later, she missed the beginning of her work shift and could not be located anywhere aboard the ship. Ships off the US Coast Guard and Mexican Navy searched the international waters, but Rebecca could not be found. Rebecca's parents were flown out from England to meet the ship when it returned. They met the detective and said that he told them he had spent only one day on board investigating before flying back home. The detective also told them that he had interviewed only a few crew members and none of the passengers. The Corry's claimed that Disney kept them in a car with blacked out windows and brought them on board via a little used side entrance after all the other passengers had disembarked. The Wonder's captain gave his condolences and expressed his theory that Rebecca had been washed overboard by a wave while at the crew pool, a theory that the Corry's doubted due to the high walls around it. Rebecca's parents have been critical of Disney's handling of the investigation, believing that the company knows more than it claims and has been more interested in avoiding unfavourable publicity than cooperating with investigators. Number 2. Richie Edwards. Richie Edwards was a Welsh musician who was the lead singer of the alternative rock band Manic Street Preachers. He disappeared on the 1st of February 1995, on the day when he was due to fly to the United States on a promotional tour. In the 2 weeks before his disappearance, he withdrew £200 a day from his bank account, which totalled £2,800 by the day of the scheduled flight. The night before he disappeared, Richie gave a friend a book called Novel with Cocaine, instructing her to read the instruction which details the author staying in a mental asylum before vanishing. Whilst staying at the Embassy Hotel in London, he removed some books and videos from his bag and wrapped them carefully in a box with a note that said, "I love you." Then decorated the box like a birthday present and decorated the outside of it with collages and literary quotations. The package was addressed to Edwards' on-off girlfriend who he'd split up with a few weeks earlier. He reportedly checked out of the hotel at 7 AM, then drove to his flat in Cardiff, leaving behind his passport. In the 2 weeks that followed, Edwards was apparently spotted in the Newport Passport Office and at the Newport bus station by a fan who was unaware that he was missing. On the 7th of February, a taxi driver from Newport supposedly picked up Edwards from the King's Hotel and drove him around the valleys. He got out at the Seven View service station near Aust, South Gloucestershire. On the 14th of February, Edwards' Vauxhall Cavalier received a parking ticket at the Seven View service station, and on the 17th of February, the vehicle was reported as abandoned. Police discovered the battery to be dead, with evidence that the car had been lived in. The car also had photos that Richie had taken of his family days prior. Due to the service station's proximity to a known suicide site, the Severn Bridge, it was widely believed that Edwards had jumped. Number 3. Madeline McCann. The Daily Telegraph described the disappearance of Madeline McCann as one of the most heavily reported missing persons case in modern history. The relatives of other missing people have criticised the police for spending more time looking for Madeline than on any other missing person. Madeline was just 3 when she disappeared from the McCann's villa in Praia de Luz, Portugal on May 3, 2007, and there are many different theories about what happened to her. Some believe that Maddie's own parents had something to do with her disappearance, or at least were to blame for it as they left her alone in the room when they socialised with friends. Others believe she was abducted by a network of paedophiles or a sex trafficking gang, and some think that the kidnapper acted alone, abducting and murdering Maddie for his own gratification. No one has been charged for the crime. Number 4. Mary Flanagan. The record for the oldest open missing persons case dates all the way back to 1959. Mary Flanagan was born on the 9th of June 1943 into a London Catholic family. At the time of her disappearance, she was working at the large Tate & Lyle sugar refinery in Silvertown. She also occasionally worked at an optician's in Stratford, as well as volunteering with the Blind Association. On the day of her disappearance, she was due to attend her employer's New Year's Eve party, which was held annually in the Silvertown plant. The last known sighting of her was approaching West Ham Tube Station. The following day, her family realised she had not come home the preceding evening, and Mr. and Mrs. Flanagan visited the sugar refinery in search of information. In a curious twist, they were informed that she had actually been absent from work for the previous fortnight. For their part, Tate & Lyle had assumed that she was off sick at the time. A search of the local area was made by both locals and the police, and the local papers provided some publicity for the case. However, it is likely to have been seen as merely a typical teenage runaway of the time. Members of her family discussing her disappearance in 2013 suggested that Mary may have eloped with a man she had been seen with frequently before her disappearance. He was supposedly an Irish immigrant and may have worked on the Merchant Navy, although police say they have never been able to trace such a man. Number 5. Lord Lucan. Richard John Bingham, the 7th Earl of Lucan, disappeared on the 8th of November 1974. Lord Lucan was a British peer who disappeared after being suspected of murder. On the evening of November the 7th, 1974, Sandra Rivet, the nanny of the Lucan's children, was bludgeoned to death in the basement of the Lucan family home. Lady Lucan, who was also attacked, later identified Lucan as her assailant. As the police began their homicide investigation, Lucan telephoned his mother asking her to collect the children and then drove a borrowed car to a friend's house in Uckfield, East Sussex. Hours later, he left the property and disappeared. The car was found abandoned in New Haven, in its interior stained with blood and its boot containing a piece of bandaged lead pipe similar to the one found at the crime scene. The police issued a warrant for Lucan's arrest a few days later, and the inquest into Rivet's death named him as her murderer. There has been continuing interest in Lucan's fate, and hundreds of alleged sightings have been reported in various countries all around the world, none of which have been substantiated. Lucan has not been found despite a police investigation and widespread press coverage. He was presumed dead in chambers on the 11th of December 1992 and declared legally dead in October 1999. A death certificate was issued in 2016. The son of the nanny, Neil Berryman, claims to have tracked down Lord Lucan and says he is now living as a Buddhist in Australia. But this isn't the first time Lord Lucan has been suspected as living in Australia. In 1974, Australian police arrested a man believed to be Lucan, but it turned out to be Labour MP John Stonehouse, who had faked his own death a month before.